Hi, I'm an academician for over 2 decades. I've been with children for so long that I really understand every pulse, every naughty pulse too. When I went to the school and went and met the children in different classes, I realized that this time there was something extremely different from what I've ever seen. I saw that right from class 2 to class 11th, I saw these students as almost different beings. Well, I know that they've been through a lot of grief. They've seen sad financial health at home. They've seen fighting parents, cooperating parents, helping each other, later maybe getting into tiffs at home, and that anger coming out on the children. I'm sure they've gone through a lot. But when they came back, how I saw them was restless beings. There was anger in a lot of them, and I also saw their eyes were almost screaming for help. When I spoke in one class, I realized that the students there were three of them crying. And why? Because they were just very emotional talking about themselves. Their self-esteem has gone down for some reason. I don't know what has happened at home, but yes, the self-esteem has gone down. There were some who said they rated themselves at almost 4 out of 10. Now let's understand this, parents, students, and school people. We need to understand that they've come back after a lot of anxiety, a lot of tension, and therefore we all collectively need to help, especially in their mental well-being. Now, the students who are giving exams right now are coping with two things. They're coping with the stress of the exam, which is like always a Damocles sword hanging over their head. But more than that, this time they're not very comfortable with their own selves, their mental well-being. Now, what do we do as a teaching fraternity, or what do we do as parents who are handling them? We need to handle them with care. And what is that? That right now, we need to understand them more than ever before. And yes, some of you will say that, well, exams are there and we need to force them. Well, what did you get in your class 10th or 8th or 9th? Do you remember at all? But what is going to stay with your child forever is the amount of confidence he has or she has in her own self. Now, how would you give them that? Despite all the tensions, they're even trying to, they're not very, if you think that they've come to school and they have a lot of friends there and they're enjoying themselves, well, let me tell you that they're still trying to build friends. Some of them, they've been so lonely. So, especially during exam time, what we all need to do is support them that this was a different year, that you didn't have entire year of studies, proper studies at school, and you studied on your own. So it's going to be different, and it's all right. The teachers were not there throughout physical. I mean, school is very different from online classes. So the teacher had a lot of focus on completing what she had to. So that connect was missing. That connect with each child was missing. Something has dented their confidence this time. I've not been able to figure out really why or what is it that caused it. But these are different children back at school. So parents, when you see this exam in front and you see this huge mountain that they need to climb over and go to the other side, well, what you need to keep in mind is that you're saying that this test you got, say, 6 out of 10, and that's great because you did it on your own. And these studies were what you did, all by yourself. These are your marks. It's your marks that matter. That there was no support Even the teacher wasn't there to give you those extra tutorials. So one, praise them, help them, assist them. Praise means not praising that you've got 4 out of 10, but praising the effort. I'm going to talk later about effort and what is a growth mindset. Maybe in my next video, I'll make on the growth mindset, that how do you make your child a winner? But today it's exam time and I need to talk about how you could de-stress the children. Well, class 10th and 11th is important and they need to study hard. But guess what? You're forcing them will not suddenly bring out the brains in front or the eyes more focused on the books and they start studying and paying more attention. The mind is wandering. So what do is be with them, tell them it's okay, calm them down, don't stress them further that there is a 10th coming. There's a lot of beating that happened during the pandemic. A lot of hitting and scolding and taunting that happened at home. You need to cover up for that. You parents need to be by their side now. You've done what was not perhaps in your hand. You did not realize because it was something that you yourself didn't know what was happening and why you were reacting in a particular manner. We've all gone through tough times. But these children need more support than ever before. And by support, I don't mean academic support, but somebody at home needs to understand that they're not what we all were normally or they were otherwise. There is a sea change in the mindset of the children. Coming back to what you can do, well, all I would say is be. Say kind words to them. If you find your child screaming, I would suggest that you just let your child scream. Do not scream back that this is not done in the house. Just remember that they are already going through so much that they need to vent it out. And it's healthy to vent it out. So if your child is getting angry or, banging the door, it's okay. It's okay. Just be with your child. Bear for some time. Hold his hand. Now, a few quick tips that you could give to your child studying for the exam is that it seems huge. It's a humongous job to pass these exams. It's not easy for anybody. It wasn't for us, and now it's even more difficult for these stressed out children. So what do? Well, tell them to so they read a paragraph and they write one word near it. All right. So when they're revising, they're just looking at these words instead of this bulky SST chapter of about 10 pages. So he just looks at and automatically recollects what that paragraph was all about. So doesn't have to read it over and over again. The second thing that you could help your child do is that take a paragraph, let's say chemistry, and form a question. Once a child has formed a question, automatically he's understood one and he's automatically, it's getting fit into the memory because he's forming a question. To form a question, you need to think. You need to understand the paragraph or the chapter if you're forming your own questions. What you could help perhaps, or if you're sitting by the side of your child and when he's studying for the exams, is to just write, make a flow chart of the entire history or geography chapter. And all he has to do is just look at that flow chart and remember it all, right? Make abbreviations, laugh on certain, acronyms that you could make and make them really funny so the child connects to that very quickly. Yes, I would say revision is important, but revising the entire chapter right when the exam is right there on your head, it's going to be difficult. So look for these little funny, silly incidences that you can relate to or the child can relate to and remember the dates or remember the temperature and all the formulas. One more thing before I leave you is that exam time is, why they spoil the exam? Now listen to me carefully. Do you know why a child gets poor marks? Why he spoils an exam? Is because he's been told several times that you've not studied, you've not studied, you've not studied, and also that you'll fail. You're not studying, you'll fail. Now guess what? Everything that we're about is what people have said to us or what we have said to ourselves. We're just that and nothing else. So if I've been called given certain labels, and if I've been called names, I will ultimately carry that label on my forehead and start believing in it. That, well, I'm too fat or too thin or I'm too dark. There's a whole lot that we grow up with. Now, exam time is not to tell your child that you're not studying, because what you say will happen and will become a part of his permanent memory. I do not study, I do not study, I do not study. Yeah, I don't study. The more positive words that he will hear about himself, despite your being very angry that the child is not studying. Yes, despite that. If you could just say positive words, I can see you studying now. Or you finished one chapter. Well, I know you felt that it took 3 hours to finish one chapter. Despite that, be positive, be positive, be positive. Thank you.